Ask most executive teams whether their AI investment is paying off, and you'll get a shrug dressed up as an answer. Not because the metrics are hard to define, because nobody in the room is actually accountable for the number. This is Executive Insights, Episode 6. In my last episode, I talked about why most AI centers of excellence fail, and the pattern underneath nearly every failure was the same. No one with real authority was actually accountable for the outcome. That gap doesn't disappear once a COV is up and running. It just resurfaces later in a different room as a different question. Is this actually paying off? And that's the question most organizations still can't answer honestly. Most organizations default to one of three metrics to justify AI spend: cost savings, productivity gains, or a vague gesture at innovation. Each of these can be measured. None of them tell you whether the investment was worth it because none of them are attached to a person whose job depends on the answer. Measurement without ownership isn't accountability, it's storytelling with a spreadsheet attached. The organizations that track this well use three tiers, each with a different owner. Efficiency ROI, time and cost saved, owned by whoever runs that operational process. Effectiveness ROI, the quality of decisions or outputs, owned by whoever's accountable for the business outcome downstream. And strategic ROI, the one almost everyone skips. Competitive positioning and optionality, owned by the executive sponsoring the initiative. Most organizations only ever measure the first tier because it's the easiest to attach a number to. That's precisely why AI programs that look successful on a dashboard still can't answer was it worth it when it actually matters in a boardroom. As accountability becomes increasingly important, more organizations are considering appointing a dedicated chief AI officer. My view: most organizations don't need another executive title. What they need is one clearly identified executive who owns AI outcomes. Depending on maturity, that might be the CTO, the chief data officer, the chief digital officer, or a business unit leader. What matters isn't the title, it's the accountability. Titles don't create accountability, leadership does. And here's where this connects directly to the Center of Excellence model. If you've already built one using the 4 pillar framework, you don't need to bolt a CAIO on top of it. The role already exists. It's the executive sponsor from the strategic alignment pillar. Fix that sponsorship, and you've built the accountability a CAIO is meant to provide without adding another layer. The mistake isn't the absence of a title, it's treating sponsorship as a formality, a name on a charter rather than a person whose review actually depends on the outcome. Before approving additional AI investment, here's what I'd want an executive team to answer with confidence. Who owns the business outcome? Who is the executive sponsor? How will success actually be measured? What happens if the value isn't realized? If you can't answer these confidently, you don't have an ROI problem, you have an ownership problem. The organizations that consistently realize value from AI rarely begin by designing better scorecards. They begin by assigning clear accountability for business outcomes. Only then does measuring ROI become meaningful. Technology can measure almost everything. Leadership still determines who owns the result. I go through the complete 3 layer framework and the full executive accountability checklist in the article. Link in the description below. If this was useful, like, subscribe, and share it with a leader who's been asked to justify AI spend without a clear answer.